Saturn V. The Saturn V was one of the most powerful space vehicles ever built. It was invented by rocket engineer Wernher von Braun and developed by NASA in the United States during the Apollo era. The main purpose of the Saturn V was to carry astronauts to the moon. The rocket stood over 110 meters tall and used three massive stages to reach space. The first stage contained five giant F-1 engines that generated enough thrust to lift the rocket off Earth. After its fuel was exhausted, the first stage separated and fell away. The second stage continued pushing the vehicle higher into the atmosphere, while the third stage carried the astronauts toward the moon. The Saturn V became famous because it powered the Apollo 11 mission, the first successful human moon landing in history. Space Shuttle. The Space Shuttle was created by NASA in the United States as the world's first reusable spacecraft system. Before the shuttle, rockets were used only once and destroyed after launch. NASA wanted a vehicle that could launch into space and return like an airplane. The Space Shuttle launched vertically using two solid rocket boosters and a giant external fuel tank. Once it reached orbit, it operated like a spacecraft capable of carrying astronauts, satellites, and scientific equipment. After completing its mission, the shuttle re-entered Earth's atmosphere and landed on a runway like a glider. The shuttle played a major role in building the International Space Station and launching the Hubble Space Telescope. Its reusable design completely changed space engineering. Soyuz. The Soyuz spacecraft was designed by Soviet engineer Sergei Korolev and developed by the Soviet Union, which later became Russia. Soyuz first launched in 1967 and remains one of the most reliable spacecraft ever built. The spacecraft was designed to transport astronauts to and from space safely. It consists of three major sections. The orbital module provides living space for astronauts, the descent module brings the crew safely back to Earth, and the service module contains engines, fuel, and life support systems. Unlike larger spacecraft, Soyuz is compact and highly efficient. It became the primary transportation vehicle for astronauts traveling to the International Space Station for many years. Falcon 9. The Falcon 9 rocket was invented by Elon Musk and developed by SpaceX in the United States. Falcon 9 became famous because it introduced reusable rocket technology on a large scale. Traditional rockets were extremely expensive because they were destroyed after every launch. Falcon 9 changed that by allowing the first stage booster to return to Earth and land vertically after launch. The rocket uses advanced onboard computers, sensors, and engines to control its landing with incredible precision. Falcon 9 is used to transport satellites, cargo, and astronauts into space. By reusing rocket boosters multiple times, SpaceX drastically reduced the cost of space missions and made space travel more frequent and accessible. Starship is another spacecraft developed by SpaceX in the United States under the leadership of Elon Musk. It is designed to become a fully reusable spacecraft capable of carrying humans to the moon, Mars, and beyond. Starship works together with a giant booster called Super Heavy, creating the tallest and most powerful rocket system ever constructed. The spacecraft uses advanced Raptor engines powered by liquid methane and liquid oxygen. One major reason for using methane fuel is that future astronauts may be able to produce methane directly on Mars, allowing Starship to refuel on another planet. Starship represents SpaceX's vision for interplanetary travel and future human colonies in space. Shenzhou. The Shenzhou spacecraft was developed by the China National Space Administration in China. It was created as China's first crewed spacecraft and was inspired partly by the Russian Soyuz design. Shenzhou was built to carry Chinese astronauts, known as taikonauts, into space safely. The spacecraft contains living sections for astronauts, re-entry systems for returning to Earth, and solar-powered service modules that provide electricity in orbit. Shenzhou also supports docking missions with China's space station. Its successful missions made China the third country in history to independently send humans into space using its own technology. Apollo Lunar Module. The Apollo Lunar Module was developed by the American aerospace company Grumman for NASA in the United States. It became the first spacecraft specifically designed to land humans on another world. Since the moon has no atmosphere, The lunar module did not need wings or aerodynamic features like airplanes on Earth. Its unusual appearance was based entirely on functionality rather than beauty. The vehicle had two sections. The descent stage was used for landing on the moon, while the ascent stage carried astronauts back into lunar orbit after the mission. In 1969, the lunar module successfully carried astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin onto the lunar surface during the Apollo 11 mission. Dragon 2. The Dragon 2 spacecraft was developed by SpaceX in the United States as a modern, reusable crew capsule. Dragon became the first privately built spacecraft to transport astronauts into orbit. The capsule launches aboard the Falcon 9 rocket and can dock automatically with the International Space Station. Unlike older spacecraft, filled with switches and mechanical controls, Dragon features modern touchscreen systems that simplify operations for astronauts. The spacecraft also includes emergency escape engines designed to pull the crew away from danger if a launch problem occurs. Dragon represents the beginning of a new era where private companies play a major role in human spaceflight. Buran, the Buran spacecraft, was developed by the Soviet Union as a response to the American Space Shuttle program. Although it looks similar to the Space Shuttle, Buran had several unique engineering differences. The spacecraft was designed to launch using the powerful Energia rocket instead of carrying its main engines on board. One of the most impressive achievements of Buran was that it completed an entire orbital mission automatically without human pilots controlling it. The spacecraft successfully launched, orbited Earth, and landed autonomously in 1988. Even though the program was later canceled, Buran remains one of the most advanced engineering achievements in Soviet space history. Ariane 5. The Ariane 5 rocket was developed by the European Space Agency and built mainly by France and other European countries. It was designed to launch heavy satellites and scientific missions into space. Ariane 5 became one of the world's most trusted launch vehicles because of its reliability and power. The rocket used two giant solid boosters along with a liquid-fueled main engine to escape Earth gravity. Ariane 5 was responsible for launching many important missions, including the James Webb Space Telescope, one of the most advanced observatories ever created. Its success helped Europe become one of the leading powers in space technology. If you know any other incredible space engineering vehicle that deserves a place on this list, let me know in the comments section.